Welcome back to Celts Are Here. I'm Josh McCafferty, and this is the latest episode in our scouting mission series where we look in depth at Celtic's upcoming opponents in the UEFA Champions League. It's matchday 6 on Tuesday for Celtic. They are away to Dinamo Zagreb. To tell us more about Tuesday's opponents, we have Lovre from Croatian Football on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Lovre, good morning to you. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing good.
Good stuff. We'll just get straight into it, straight off the bat then. What can you tell us about Dinamo Zagreb's overall style of play, how they set up, and what Celtic can expect ahead of this game on Tuesday?
So, what you can expect? So, there's two sides to Dinamo. Really, there's one dominant side that likes to play a four at the back in the league, and there's the side that Bielsa has put up with that plays three or five at the back, however you want to call it, in the Champions League, where they kind of sit back, let the other team pressure them, and then hit them on the counter with their pace. So you'll probably see that because lots of injuries in the squad right now, and they added two more this weekend, 2 days ago. So it's not looking good.
Yeah, definitely. That's something I was going to ask you about the injuries. I seen on your page the other day, Petkovic, Sucic, Misic, Torrente, Ademi, all missing for this
Yep,
game. How big of a miss will those guys be?
a big one. They're missing their whole midfield with Sucic and Misic. Baturna has recovered, thankfully, because he was in doubt for the match on Friday, but he played in that match for a few minutes and he's fully fit for Tuesday. Petkovic, a brilliant striker who shows up on big games, likes the occasion, always enjoys it, and would have definitely popped up if he played on Tuesday. But obviously he's out for the remainder of the year. So just a big, and Torrente and Demi just added themselves to the list on Friday, and Torrente has established himself in the last few months as the probably the best center back in the squad on form, and Ademi has gotten back going under Bielitsa after Bielitsa came in as the new manager. So it's a big miss because Ademi is also another midfielder. So that's another substitution I'm gonna have to make.
And with those guys injured, although they're out, who are the key players to watch? Who could, if Zagreb had to get anything from the game, stand out?
So obviously Baturina, since he's playing, and I mean probably Piazza. Piazza has been very good this season, and Kulenovic. Kulenovic, I think, a brilliant striker, and he'll definitely, if he gets a chance, he'll score it. On Friday, he got three chances at point blank range, and the goalie made some brilliant saves. But if he gets those chances again on Tuesday, I I would hope he scores it.
Yeah, so just touching on the form, then a 1-1 draw with Slaven on Friday evening. Results haven't been going particularly great for Zagreb domestically. What's been behind that? What are the issues? Are injuries just the key problem behind the form recently?
So injuries, and I mean, just Slaven, for example, this Friday has really taken a step up in the last few months under the new manager. So they've looked really good, and they showed that against Dinamo this time, and the last time they played them after they lost to Bayern 9-2. That then they lost 4-1 to Slaven. So they're really taking a step up. The rest of the league is also very good, so it's hard, but it's injuries and the fatigue mainly. So and sometimes the players don't really, I mean, I will say like to play. They probably want to play football, but like when you go from beating like Salzburg to having to play Istra in the league, and then after like 20, 30 minutes, you're like, you know, let's take a foot off the gas. We need to, rest a little bit.
Yeah, I could totally get that. Then just on the relationship then between the fans and the club at the minute, because I read a statement this morning from Zagreb talking about how they're in a crisis, like results and obviously injuries, etc. And then there was a bit of something going on between the bad Blue Boys, the Ultras group, on Friday evening after the game and the players, where they didn't get a really good reception. Is that correct?
Yeah, but that's just because the results aren't going their way. You obviously don't want to be, because Dinamo could have went 9 points behind the leaders Hajduk, but Hajduk lost yesterday, so they've actually gained a point instead of losing it.
That's good then for them domestically. Are there any wee weaknesses, sorry, Zagreb have that Celtic can look to exploit?
Well, the defense mainly because of all the injuries, and mostly because it's going to be a free at the back, and the free defenders are probably, I don't know who's now going to be playing in defense. It's probably going to be Benoer and Theophil. Then on the left, as the left wing back, you're gonna have Pierre Gabriel, who's on the wrong side because he's naturally a right back. So you can definitely exploit that and through the defense, because that defense is probably gonna be that free pair is probably gonna be playing together for the first time ever, and that can definitely affect the communication between the players.
Just on the Champions League then this season, Zagreb, they're only actually a point behind Celtic, so they have 7 from their opening 5 games. Celtic have 8, so they have been playing pretty well in Europe by all accounts. What are the expectations for Zagreb among the fans over there in the Champions League this season? Is it to get out the league phase? Is it to get to the quarterfinals, or just compete? What are the hopes and expectations?
Well, I mean, before it was, look, we're here, we're gonna try, we're just gonna go game by game. But now that the Celtic match is definitely like the match of the season, because if you win it, 10 points almost guarantee you a place in the playoffs for the knockouts. So that will be a big thing for Croatia, because we haven't had it's not really it's the playoff for the knockouts, but it's still a knockout match in the Champions League with the new format. So it's definitely something to achieve. So it's the game of the season for them and the rest of the league with the coefficients. And if Dinamo loses the match, that means they're back on the 1 game per week schedule, which just means they can focus on the league, which isn't good for the likes of Hajduk and Rijeka, who are fighting for the title.
Yeah, definitely. And then just on Celtic, how are they being looked at in Croatia and the media, etc., ahead of this game? Very much a big opponent, like you say, game of the season.
Yeah, game of the season, hard opponent, but it's being played in Zagreb, so that's something a bit of an edge, especially if there's bad weather on Tuesday, which we saw against Monaco, and Monaco couldn't really get used to them, and then Dinamo made 2 mistakes to allow Monaco to get back into the match, and it finished 2-2. But a very dangerous opponent, very very good physically. That's something that that Dinamo is gonna have to, bear, and. I mean, game of the season, the players just need to be hyped for it.
Yeah, hyped is a very good word to use, actually. How are they viewing this game in terms of winnable? Do they think this is Zagreb one they can very much take 3 points of, or do they think a draw is good? What are the expectations?
Oh, well, I mean, before all the injuries, you definitely thought, yeah, we can win this. After the injuries, it's become like, okay, it's gonna be very tight. I mean, mostly I see some Dinamo fans giving the edge to Celtic because of the injuries. I spoke to a Dinamo fan yesterday. He doesn't think they have a big chance, but he believes the players will as I said, will be hyped up because it's the game of the season. It's a chance for themselves to show themselves at the biggest stage and go into a knockout stage of the Champions League.
Just on the stadium, is it going to be hostile for the Celtic players going over there? Is it going to be a tough atmosphere to play in, do you think?
Probably. The problem with the Maximir, it's so far away. The stands are so far away from the pitch and so up in the air. So that's probably gonna ease it, but it's still gonna be probably hostile because it is the game of the season and the fans are definitely gonna act like it.
Yeah, just yourself then, before we finish. How do you think this game's going to go?
It's gonna be very hard for Dinamo. It's very very hard to play with all these injuries. I hope, like from my heart for Croatian football, I hope Dinamo can scratch a 1-0, 2-1 win. But realistically, I see a Celtic 2-0 win.
2-0 Celtic win. That would be quite something. Lovre will hold you to that if we ever speak to you again. But thank you very much again for coming on and taking the time out of your day to let us know a bit more about Dinamo ahead of this match on Tuesday, guys. If you enjoy the content, like, subscribe, comment down below your score predictions, all that good stuff. I've been Josh. Lovre, thank you again.
Thank you for the invite.
Thanks, guys, and we'll see you all next time.